is level N, list 2, and we're doing the day 1 page, and it's a revision of EA for the long E sound. So our words are mean. Actually, let's highlight them as we go. So we've got mean, e, n, ch, e, p, cheap, the EA, p, eat, wheat, l, east, least, b, east, beast, scream, easen, reason, Easter, and eagle. Okay, the only hint I can give you to remember which words have EA in them and which have double E for the long E sound is sometimes with a little bit of association we can relate these words somehow to the word eat. It might help you to remember them. So you can do that as a group or think about it yourselves, but just trying to relate each of these words to eat is one way of remembering the EA versus double E words. So what do these ones, what other things do these words have in them? So in sheep we have the CH making the ch sound. We've got the WH in wheat, so to know that there is an H after the W, if you say wheat, you can feel air after the W, so you know that there's an H there. There's nothing tricky in there. Now, season and reason, you have to remember it has ON on the end. Even though we don't pronounce it as on, we tend to give it a schwat sound, so we're going season, reason. But if you pronounce them correctly, you would hear that ON, season, reason. So you might say those two to spell them. You might say them correctly to make the spelling easier, or if you give it a schwat sound, then you're going to have to remember it's ON on the end of them. Easter, we tend to say Easter. So once again, we give it a schwat sound, a grunt sound at the end. If you want to remember it easily that it's ER, then pronounce it as Easter. So pronounce that ER. Eagle, now G is a stop consonant, and we know after a stop consonant, we put LE for the ul sound. That's all there is in that group. So let's go back and look at their meanings. So mean, if someone is unkind, we might say that they are mean. Cheap means that something doesn't cost very much. There is another cheap as well, which is the sound that a bird makes. So you might say here, oh, the food was cheap. The food we eat is cheap. Wheat is something we can eat. It's a grain that they grind into flour that we put into bread. Least means the lowest amount. Beast means a wild animal. A scream is a very loud, high-pitched noise. Season is a time of the year, so we have 4 seasons in a year and we have 3 months in each season. So we have summer, autumn, winter, spring. Reason is why something happens. Easter is a time of the year where we commonly give chocolate to others, and eagle is a very large bird of prey. Right, let's go back and read the words, sound the words, spell them and write them, and then check to make sure that we've spelt them correctly. So we've got mean, m-e-n, 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 M-E-A-N, M-E-A-N, M-E-A-N. Write it, check it. These words should be quite easy for you. We're just making sure that you know them. They're easy for you to spell because they are quite common words that you're going to use a lot. This is level N, list 2, and we're doing the day 2 page, and in these words we're looking at EA for the long E sound. So you can highlight this EA in all the words as we read them. We've got mean, cheap, wheat, least, beast, scream, season, reason, Easter, eagle. So we discussed the meanings of these words yesterday. We've got some other things in there that you need to be aware of when you're writing these words. So in cheap, you've got the CH making the ch sound. In wheat, you've got the H after it. If you say wheat, you can feel air after the W, so you know there's an H there. Least, beast are quite easy. Scream, you can just sound those. Now, season, we tend to give that a schwat sound at the end, so we tend to say season. So you must remember either to that it is a schwa sound and you need to write on, or you could say to spell season, reason. Otherwise it's reason, and you have to remember it's a schwa sound and you must write on. Easter is another schwa sound on the end, where we tend to go Easter, but if you say it correctly, Easter, it's easier to spell, so just remember which way you're going to do that, how you're going to remember it's ER on the end. Eagle, the G is a stop consonant, it stops as soon as you say it, and we know after a stop consonant we always put LE at the end of word. Now, so let's read the word, sound the word and spell them, cover them and write them. So we've got mean, M-E-N, M-E-A-N, cover it, write it, and then go on to your next one. Complete the crossword with the missing list words. Number 1, across. A wild animal, so you have to use these words up here. It would be beast, of course. So just write that one in. Cross it off when you've done it, and then if any of them are difficult, come back to them at the end and fill them in, and the other clues may help you. Number 1 down is flour is made from this, it's made from wheat. So 1 letter per box, and then cross it off. So you can finish that on your own or within your group. Complete the sentence with the list word. I tried to something with her, but without success. So I tried to reason with her, so write in the missing word. Down the bottom you've got some more homophones, write the correct word to fill the gap. Now this cheap means something doesn't cost a lot of money. This cheap is a sound that a bird makes, a chicken makes. So Mum got us something apples at the market. The eaglet makes something loudly as it calls for its parents for food. So you can finish those couple on your own. Don't forget to mark your work at the end. This is level N, list 2, and we're doing the day 3 page, and we're looking at the long E sound represented by EA. So we've got mean, cheap, wheat, least, beast, scream, season, reason, Easter, and eagle. Could you highlight that EA in all of those words so you remember you're using EA for the long E sound? Let's get another colour and we'll go through and highlight some of the other things we can see happening in these words to make the spelling easier. You should well and truly know by now that CH may make the ch sound, as in cheap. Wheat. If you say wheat and put your hand in front of your mouth, you'll feel air and you'll know that there is an H after the W. That's the easiest way to check it. It's nearly 5,000 words that you won't have to learn if you can remember that little cheat. Least, beast, scream, they're all simple sounding words. Now reason and season, you've got this schwa ending. So if we say season, reason, you'll hear the ON, but many of us give it a schwa sound, so we're typically saying season, reason. So then you'll have to remember to use ON for that schwa sound at the end of those words. Easter, if we can say it, pronounce it correctly, we'll hear that but otherwise we tend to give it a schwa ending and it will be Easter. But you have to remember to write ER for that schwa sound then. Now we know if we have a stop consonant, we're going to put LE after a stop consonant. So stop consonants are any of those consonants that stop as soon as we say them. So G, D, T, B. I'm not going to go through the whole alphabet, but if the first part of the word ends in a G, D, T, B, or any other consonant that stops as soon as you say it, you put LE after it. And if it continues, such as in you know, you put EL after a continuing consonant. So we're just going back and revising that a fair bit now so that you really know it, because that's close to 50,000 words that you won't have to learn if you can start to remember some of those L-E-E-L-I-L-A-L, 1L or double L rules that we've learnt so far. Okay, let's go back and read the words, sound the words and spell them and then write them on the line. So we've got mean, M-E-N, M-E-A-N, then cover it and write M-E-A-N. Very easy for you to do that on your own. Now, comparators and superlatives are adjectives. They give meaning to a noun, and to form these base words into comparators and superlatives, we're going to add ER to make it a comparative, meaning more, and EST to make it into a superlative, to make it mean the most of something. So we might have mean, meaner, meanest, cheap, cheaper, cheapest. You can do that easily on your own. Now, verb families, we're always going to have the base word here. In this column, we're adding the S. In this one, we're adding the ing. And in this one, we're adding the ED. So that's fairly easy for you here. This one is an alert, so we would go mean, means, meaning. Do we say mean? Do I mean to do that? No, we don't. We say I meant to do that. So this long E sound will change to a short Et sound, but we're still using the E and the A for that short Et sound. So don't be tricked when you do it. We know that ED at the end of a word can make a T sound, but here we're actually using a T for the T sound at the end of meant. Add able to form an adjective and use the phrases in a sentence. So we'd have reasonable, argument, seasonable, vegetables. So we've given you a couple of phrases there, but you could create your own sentences there with those two adjectives. Now down here we're actually forming adverbs, and we've already spoken quite a lot previously about adding ly to the end of a base word to form an adverb. So we'd have cheaply, beastly, reasonably. And then you have to write a sentence using those words there. Now the plural of wheat is, this is tricky. We do have some words in English where the word doesn't change from its singular to its plural form, and wheat is one of them. So we don't say wheat. The plural form of wheat is wheat. The plural form of corn is corn. The plural form of sheep is sheep. Same with fish and deer. The only time we would add es to fish is, to make fishes, would be is if we went fishing and we caught different types of fish. Then we would say fishes. But if we're talking about one type of fish, we just say fish is the plural form and the singular form. Okay, so down here you have to finish the sentences with the correct form of wheat. The farmer harvested all the wheat in the paddock. Spelt is a type of wheat. So you're using it in its singular and plural form, so don't get tricked. This is level N, list 2, and we're doing the day 4 page, and the first part of it is about irregular past tense words. So we've got, if a word is a verb and has a long E sound in it, it may be an irregular verb. So to do this we may. Okay, so we're going from easiest to hardest here. So the first thing, sometimes we shorten the vowel to et. So meet will become met, speed will become sped, etc. So that's the easiest version we have. The next step up is where we not only shorten the vowel to a short et sound, but we also add a T at the end of it. So sleep goes to slept. So we shorten the vowel to a short et sound and we add the T. Now this is more prevalent with long E sounding vowels in words. So the final step here is where we've got some tricky verbs where we actually can change the whole word. So eat could go to ate. Read is a tricky one because it's a long E sound and it just changes to the short et sound for the EA. So read becomes read. So just be careful on these ones in particular, and you may need to discuss them within your group. And just remember here too that the T, we're using a T for the ED at the end of these words. Quite often in words like kicked, we use the ED even though we hear a T, but these ones you have to use the T when you hear the T. So fill in the correct sound to finish these words. Now these are a revision of some of the sounds that you've learnt to date. So you've got to work out which E sound, for instance, it is for eagles. And don't forget too, if it's the first word in a sentence, you must start the first letter with a capital letter.